Everybody says you need at least $25,000, $50,000 to start making money in the markets. In my opinion, that couldn't be further from the truth. I'm going to show you how you can do it with just $1,000. Yo, what's going on, Premium Chasers? I hope you are having a God-blessed day. Today, every single person that comments down below is going to get our small account starter kit. Just drop a comment, no strings attached. And while you're down there, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Today, guys, I'm going to show you how you can get started with options the safer way with just $1,000 in your pocket. And not only that, I'm going to show you how this thing can compound like a snowball for you. All right, so let's go over the shoulder. So first and foremost, to get it out of the way, the stock that we're going to be talking about is one of my favorites right now and has been for like literally the past 6 months, and that is Snapchat. Now, the first prerequisite that we will need for this is a stock that is within your budget. So right now, with our budget of $1,000, we will need something around the $10 level, $10 per share level, which Snapchat fits the bill perfectly, trading at $8.38. And today, at the time of me recording this, we can see we have a nice little drop here on Snapchat, down 2.27%. So let's walk through this because you've probably already had terrible experiences with options trading. Give me an amen in the comments. I can't be the only one who's lost a bunch of money. And until I developed this strategy, right, for myself and really committed to only doing this strategy, did everything change for me, where I'm now really focused on building wealth and creating income in the markets as opposed to being a literal degenerate, right? And instead, I'm scooping up all the poker chips in the market while everybody else is being a degenerate. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So first thing we're going to go to the trade snap options. Next thing we're going to do is we're clicking sell, right? We're not an options buyer anymore. We're an options seller. I'm going to show you what that means in a second. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to click sell a put. Now, all I'm saying here is I'm willing to buy 100 shares of Snapchat, right? We got $1,000 in our brokerage account. In this example, we're just using Robinhood. You can do this on any brokerage. We're saying we're willing to buy 100 shares of Snapchat, right? Obviously, at the time we're recording this, we could go out there and just buy 100 shares for $840, right? But that's silly. That's a silly thing to do, right? This is the better way to do it and get paid premium up front just for saying maybe, right? I call this the Warren Buffett and maybe I'll buy it strategy that he's been using for 40 plus years. Yeah, all the gurus here on YouTube tell you to buy options. Who you gonna listen to? All right. So in my opinion, right, we're clicking sell, put, and then we get to select our expiration date. That's the date that we'd be actually wanting to buy those 100 shares. Yeah, we get to pick the date too, right? So in our example here, I'm just gonna go closest to 30 days. Now there are strategies to weeklies. We may touch on that in just a minute here, so bear with me. You get a better return if you do weeklies, but it requires a little bit more management on your part. And listen, I know day trader. I ain't sitting in front of the screens. This is a retirement income strategy for me. Listen, I'm not doing that. I'm doing other things that I want to do in my life, right? So I'm just going to go December 12th, which is just around that 30-day mark. So what I'm saying here is I'm willing to buy 100 shares of Snapchat on December 12th, okay? Now, best part, guys, is I get to name my price, okay? So, for example, if I'm cool buying it at $8, right? Let's say I actually want to buy it at $8. I would collect, let's see, right around between $15 and $35 of premium. We'll just say right around the middle, $20. We'll just say $20 we'd collect of premium. Now, this premium that we're seeing right here is coming from an option buyer, okay? Now, when you see this where it says bid and ask spread, this is fairly large here. I usually like to go right around the middle, right? Like a medium likelihood fill, right? That way I'm really collecting as much juice as I possibly can, right? Now, let's go toss this into my cash secured put calculator. All my calculators are free, fam. Attend the Ark Options Strategy workshop. It's 2 hours of absolute goodness, especially if you want to learn this strategy. If you're a beginner and you want to learn this, and even if you're advanced, click that first link in the description. You're not only going to get my calculators, you're also going to get my trade log as well to keep yourself nice and organized. So we're collecting $20 of premium. We're locking up $800, and we are seeing that we have a 2.5% return in a month. Not financial advice, results vary, just the premiums I'm seeing on my screen at the time of me recording this video, okay? Now, obviously, right, a 2.5% in return in a single month, in my opinion, is fantastic. Listen, those of you that are going out there looking at sketchy buying option strategies where you have high risk, high reward, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm done playing those games with my finances. I'm not doing those things anymore. I think that's ludicrous. In my personal opinion, a strategy like this, even if you start with $1,000, snowballs so much faster because you're setting yourself up as the house, right? And even here, now we're already at $25 that we'd be collecting, but I digress, right? We're now creating a good habit where we're now creating income leveraging our money, and a 2.5% return in a single month is fantastic. But let's talk about the risk, because there's no such thing as free money in this world, okay? Let's say the 12th rolls around and at close, Snapchat is trading above $8, right? Let's just say it's trading around $8.45 still, or $9, whatever, anything above $8. Well, if that happens, the contract expires worthless. No more contract is in your account anymore. Your $800 is returned back into your account, and then you run the play again for the following week or the following month. And guess what? We collect another return on our collateral, and we keep snowballing. Now, the following month, we have a little bit more money. The following month, we have a little bit more money and more money and more money and more money. And it really starts to snowball and create a compounding effect. Now, the second risk of this strategy is at close on the 12th, let's say Snapchat is trading below $8, right? It's trading at $7, right? You're on the hook to buy your shares at $8. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't think it's a bad thing having to buy your shares at a discounted price, and you got paid just for taking that risk. Because what we can do after that is do something called a covered call. Now, a covered call flips the script, and you probably had no idea that this even exists. But what we can do is, if we own 100 shares, we can now rent those shares out, right? We can rent those shares out for premium. So what we'd flip here, instead of saying sell a put, we're going to say sell a call. Now I'm saying with this kind of setup, I'm willing to sell my 100 shares of stock of Snapchat that I just bought, right? Let's just say for $8 for simplicity's sake, right? And on December 12th. And the cool part about this is I get to name my price for this as well. I get to name the price that I'd be willing to sell those 100 shares that I just got assigned at $8 for, right? So in this example, let's just say, you know what, $8.50, right? So we'll just say, you know what, we bought them this month for $8. We're willing to sell them next month for $8.50. Now, for taking that same risk, right, we also collect a nice premium. Now, again, the bid-ask spread always, listen, this is one of the leakiest buckets people do when they do this strategy I'm talking about here, is that they don't go between the bid and ask spread. It's ludicrous. If you just go with the bid, you're going to get assigned right away at the bid, and you're going to just collect $47. But look how different this bid ask spread is. It's 47 and 86. So I usually just split it right down the middle. Let's just say, you know, we'll just go like 60, right? We'll just go 60, right? And then I'll just say good for day, right? Because look, think about it. I just collected basically almost 20 extra dollars on taking on that risk. Now let's go to our covered call calculator. Now, again, free at the Ark Options Workshop. First link in the description. So we're going to put in our $60 of collected premium. This premium is coming from the options buyer. It is given to us up front, okay? Now, again, we're not locking up collateral here. Well, we are. We're locking up our 100 shares instead, okay? So you can actually do this strategy. You probably, if you're watching this video, you probably own 100 shares of a stock or ETF that you could do this on, right? So our strike of the option, we're saying we're willing to sell our shares for $8.50, right? We bought our shares for $8. And take a look at what this premium return is. Insane. Definitely more higher risk, right? 7.5% premium return. How am I getting that number? I'm doing 60 divided by 800. That's how I'm getting that. Now, I know some of you guys are going to be like, Pete, I want 50x returns. I want 100x. Listen, you're setting yourself up for failure. Build good habits from the start, even if you're running this with $1,000. Guys, my trade log that I have, I'm doing this with just $5,000, right? And I'm building good habits month after month after month, right? Just hitting my ROI targets. And that is it, right? I keep things very slow, steady wins the race in my personal opinion, right? I think you're better off building good habits and creating a snowball effect with your finances where you're kind of focusing on being an income investor, which I like to call us. Well, we the premium chasers, let's be real. But as opposed to going out there and just giving listen, when you're buying those options, where do you think that money's going? That's going to people like me. That's going to people like me because you're taking on a massive amounts of risk. Yes, I'm taking on risk too with this strategy, but I'm defining it. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. I know the outcome, right? So in the covered call side, which this is called, I'm saying, right, that I'm willing to sell my 100 shares for $8.50. Now, guess what? If at close on the 12th, let's say that Snapchat is trading below $8.50, right? Let's just say it's trading at $8 still, right? I don't sell my shares, right? My shares are returned back to me and then I rent them out for another premium check for the following month. And again, that premium is given to you immediately up front, okay? The second thing that can happen, and this is the biggest risk of this side, is again, you are defining your entire trade right from the get, right? You know exactly what your max profit's going to look like. In this case, our max profit on our shares is $50, right? The difference between selling at 8 versus selling at 850, 100 shares, right? But let's say at close, right, Snapchat's trading at 9, right, or 10. You're missing out on all of those additional gains because you've already said you're selling your shares at 850. Now, there's more that goes into this strategy, guys. Managing these positions, knowing what stocks to pick, right? Organizing yourself, right? The difference between weeklies and monthlies and when to use it. So if you want to learn more about this strategy that I believe is perfect if you're a pre-retiree, you're somebody who wants to retire, right? Me personally, I'm going to use this during my retirement years to generate actual income as well for myself. So if you want to learn more about this strategy in way more depth, click the first link in the description of today's video. There's a 2-hour training there on the Ark Options Strategy. And just for staying with me with that training and learning this strategy, I want you to actually walk away and actually start implementing it. Okay, I want you to go use this stuff because it's like insane that nobody, literally go ask anybody in your life, nobody knows about this stuff. Right. And I think it is so slept on. Right. In addition to the free training and workshop, you're going to get all of my calculators and my trade logs completely for free at the very end. Click that first link in the description of today's video, guys. Remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I'll see y'all tomorrow.